you just heard me playing an example, mixing up playing in and playing out. And when you play out, it adds, kind of this depth of a unique sound to your playing that, of course, keeps you from sounding predictable and boring. And with that in mind, let's give a listen to me playing with just the C major pentatonic along with that same track, trying to sound as in as I possibly can. So there's many ways of playing out, and before we get into the specific one that we're going to be getting into in this video, I just want to highlight one of the benefits of playing out is that it adds contrast. And just like the thumbnail I have for this video series, you can see there's all different types of contrast within this because I want to highlight that's one of the key benefits there. Now, what's the point of having contrast? Well, it grabs people's attentions. It keeps things interesting. It's like I have a 10-month-old son, and, babies are always looking for things that are grabbing their attention. And I have these gray sweatpants that I wear a lot, especially during these times. I've been wearing them sometimes many days in a row, right? And they're all gray, but they have these red pockets. And sometimes he'll see that red pocket, and he goes for that pocket. He doesn't go for the rest of it, the boring gray that all looks the same. But that red, jumps out and grabs his attention. And you want to do the same with your playing so that you grab the listener's attention, and by playing quote unquote out, that is just one way of doing that. So we're going to get into this one specific way, but first let's give a listen to me playing the same scale of what I was doing before, but now playing it in this out way, and we'll break down what's going on after that. So adding movement takes you to new musical dimensions, and we need to first understand the difference between steps and leaps. So what are steps and what are leaps? If we are in the key of C, so based on the C major scale, right? All the white keys, nice and easy. You can see it and visualize it really well. We have C to D is a step, and now C to C sharp, or showing here D flat, same thing though, that would be a half step. So 1 fret on guitar or 2 frets is going to be a step. So those are 2 different types of steps. Now when you go along the C major scale, you got a step of 2 frets, and then E to F is a half step, still a step, and then when you get up here, B to C, also a half step. Now you can see on the staff, of the musical staff here, it still goes up a note, goes to the next line, goes to the next one. This one still does, even though it's only 1 fret. So it's still thought of as a step. Now what happens in the major pentatonic scale is you're taking out the F, the 4th scale degree, and you're taking out the 7th scale degree, in this case B, and you're getting rid of those little half steps. So you're gonna have a whole step, you're skipping there, and that is one of the musical things that's unique with the pentatonic scale, and it's just lots of reasons that musically kind of works for lots of styles of music, lots of instruments. Particularly works well on guitar because of the way the fingering is as well. You can use our strong fingers and things like that. So it's really popular, the different pentatonic scales on guitar. But what that does though is that introduces a leap right there. So from E to G is 3 frets, so it's the smallest leap we can do. From A to C, same thing, 3 frets, so that's a leap. But we can go further. You can go like this and get the leaps further and further. So instead of playing the scale kind of, right up and down, you could be throwing in some bigger leaps, and that makes things a little unstable. So think of it as if you were if you were running up some stairs, if you're going right step by step, it's the most kind of stable way of getting up there. But if you were all of a sudden leaping up there, you're going to get to the top of the stairs a lot faster, but you're not going to be as stable. You might fall. So musically speaking, it can take things out there and just make things a little more interesting to kind of go in, kind of go out. Gives you a little more control, takes you on a little more of a structured journey in that stuff. So, all right, let's listen to one more example. This time I'm mixing up kind of the going in, going out, so focusing a little more on steps, leaps. It's not all about just playing just in, just out. The best thing is just mixing things up, doing it subtly. But I'm also going to be doing a little different technique with a scale. It's a little kind of a unique thing I came up with myself that I do my own playing a lot. And I'll explain that and show you what it is afterwards, but let's give it a quick listen first. So what I was using there was a little thing I called the U shape. But before I get into what that is, I just want to highlight how important it is to be able to go in, go out, because it gives your listener a structured journey that you're kind of controlling. And it allows you to, stand out and be different again with that contrast. And that sticks into people's memories. It grabs their attention first, and it's something you remember more. So think of the idea here of a traditional scale pattern versus, what we're calling just a weird scale pattern. Just it's a little more unusual. Our ears aren't quite as used to it, right? But in traditional things, growing up, my family had all kinds of traditions. And on Memorial Day weekend, we would go camping with a whole bunch of friends in someone's backyard. And it was always a great time, and we had these traditions even within it of things that we would kind of games and things we'd do and throughout the weekend, And looking back, do I have strong specific memories? Certain things, sure, but one thing that stands out is one time one of the dads said, "Hey, I'm going to take you and my son on a bike ride." We were just little kids. We went on this bike ride, and we got super lost, and we ended up in this city that we were next to, kind of in a bad neighborhood. A little sketchy at times, and I don't even know how we found our way back. We were gone for hours and didn't bring any food or water with us, too. So that was out of the norm. That was not part of the tradition. And that's something I remember really well. So taking things out can be something that kind of grabs people's attentions and can stick in their memory a little bit more. Because we all want to be, memorable with our playing and not just forgotten, right? So what was I doing there? If we're taking the C major pentatonic, right? A lot of people do this kind of diagonal thing, play this little sweet spot right here, and then the sweet spot right here. So these three different shapes. Now you can call it just like a diagonal pattern, and that's nice because it keeps it to these strong fingers, and everything's 2 frets, except for this one spot right here, it's 1. So something I like to do is play this shape that I call the U shape. So it's the same idea of playing this, but instead of going up, we go back down here. So it's between these 2 hand positions. And it's almost a perfect U. I wish it was, but you've got 2 frets here, except 3 here, and then everything else is 2 frets. This one note right here kind of throws the pattern. It would be a perfect U if it wasn't that, but still to me it looks like a U. So I call it the U shape. And I realized too that right here, you're repeating that note. But why not? What's the big deal? The thing here is it gets it on your fingers nice and easy. And I feel like it's very easy to then slide around. And then do some weird patterns, some leaps. Because you get that right here, it's a 4th. So again, I call it the U shape. It's just something I use in my playing a lot. I think of it like that. And it's really great for playing leads, good for actually doing some rhythm things too, but that's a whole nother topic. And if you found this video useful and you got your guitar with you now, definitely head over to this backing track playlist right here. About 99% of my tracks have the scale charts right on there so you can follow along. And if you don't have your guitar with you, try out this video here because for some reason YouTube thinks you're going to like it. Have fun with it, and I'll see you in the next video.